All right, guys. Sorry, it's a couple days late. Had a lot going on lately, but WrestleMania 30 is finally complete. It is finally over. It's hard to believe that with all of the build-up, it's already done. But I think that anybody who watched WrestleMania 30, whether it was on pay-per-view, at the bar, or home on the WWE network like me, I think you'll all agree that this is one of the best WrestleManias we've had in a while, which is saying a lot since the last two have had The Rock and Cena. We had Undertaker and CM Punk last year, but this is by far one of the better WrestleManias in recent memory. Let's go ahead and get right to it. The WrestleMania pre-show, the kickoff show, we saw the Usos retain the tag titles against the Real Americans, Los Matadores, and Curtis Axel and Ryback. Great match. It was an elimination tag match, fatal four-way elimination tag match. So you know it's going to be exciting, especially with all of these tag teams in the match. Your typical, anytime you got the Usos and Los Matadores in the match, it's going to be fun to watch, especially with El Torito at ringside. It's just going to be fun, high-flying back and forth, lots of drama, lots of high-flying acrobatics. If you're not a wrestling fan, you don't know who to watch the Usos, because they're outstanding. They remind me of Rey Mysterio back in his prime in the 90s when I started watching wrestling back in WCW. They've got that high-flying lucha libre, Samoan, just acrobatics to them. Obviously, we knew going in that the Real Americans were going to get a push, and of course they did. They eliminated Matadores. They eliminated Axel and Ryback, and it came down to the Real Americans and the Usos. And very physical match. None of the tag teams held anything back. The Usos ended up winning the match when they hit the double splash off the top rope. Jimmy was on one turnbuckle. Jay was opposite him. Hit the double splash off the top rope, which was outstanding. After the match, the Real Americans ended up splitting up. Jack Swagger blamed the loss on Cesaro because Cesaro ended up getting pushed into Swagger and then getting pinned. Cesaro wasn't going to have it. He's sick of it. He's sick of being blamed for everything. He's sick of Swagger's jealousy from his push and all that, and rightfully so. I can't say I blame him. Swagger did try to put Cesaro in the Patriot lock. Zeb Coulter kind of talked him out of that, of course, and talked Swagger into shaking Cesaro's hand, but Cesaro wasn't going to have it. He's, like I said, he's fucking done. Ends up taking down Swagger and giving him the Cesaro swing about 20 sometimes. It was great. It was fun to watch. And that's the end of the Real Americans, at least for WrestleMania 30. And after watching that, my whole thought process was, if that is the WrestleMania kickoff show, this is going to be one hell of a WrestleMania. And boy, was I right. The opening segment of WrestleMania, we got Hogan, the host of WrestleMania 31, or WrestleMania 30. Sorry, getting a year ahead of myself. The host of WrestleMania 30 coming out, talking about 30 years ago with Mr. T and Orndorff and Piper, and then WrestleMania 3 with Andre and all that. He keeps calling the Superdome the Silver Dome, and he didn't realize it until the second time. The fans let him know, and he was embarrassed, but he recovered well. Then the glass shatters, and out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's doing his BMF walk down to the ring, and this place is going insane. I could feel it here, and I'm in Indianapolis. He does his whole catchphrase, if you want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin open can of whoop ass on Hulk Hogan, give me a hell yeah. And kind of jabs Hogan a little bit with the Silver Dome thing, and it's fun to watch. And just when you think you can't get any better, you hear the Rock's theme, the Rock's music hit, and out comes the Great One. The three of them exchange words, not fighting words, but just you can tell that there's a lot of respect between all of those guys. We haven't seen the three of them in the ring together in probably 10 years or so, I think. And any longtime wrestling fan was in heaven watching this promo and watching this segment, because you got Hogan, you got Austin, you got The Rock. Like the Mount Rushmore pro wrestling. It's just, you're just missing Cena or Punk. which reminds me, what's your WWE Pro Wrestling Mount Rushmore? Curious. After that segment, anybody had already gotten their money's worth. I mean, whether it's $9.99 on the network or $50-$60 on pay-per-view, you already had your money's worth. But as if that wasn't better, surprisingly, the first match of the night, Triple H and Daniel Bryan. I personally thought this would be a little bit later on in the bill. Surprisingly, match number 1, but it makes sense so that whoever won could have some time to recuperate, because you knew this was going to be a physical match. You knew it was going to be brutal, and that's exactly what it was. And not to mention the kick-ass entrance that Triple H had, opening up with some 300 music that you would see here in like Pompeii or 300 or something like that. Very old school Greek god Roman battle music almost. It was awesome. You see Triple H sitting on a throne with a Greek god style mask and helmet on, shoulder pads, wearing a robe. I mean, he looks like a Greek god. I mean, it's very old school Roman Greek Gothic style, surrounded by women who take the robe off of him. He takes off the helmet and everything, and then his normal time to play the game theme hits, and obviously by Motorhead, long live Motorhead and Lemmy. Lemmy is God. He walks down into the room wearing outstanding entrance. I mean, you can tell the WWE has pulled out all the stops for WrestleMania 30, especially seeing as how it really wasn't that impressive of a bill right after Royal Rumble. It really wasn't looking good, but they turned it around. And then Daniel Bryan's music hits, and out he comes, and you knew, as I said earlier, you knew this was going to be a physical match. You knew it was going to be really, really, really back and forth, and it definitely was. You could tell that the two don't like each other at all, storyline-wise. Who knows, maybe even personally. But it's Triple H opens up the match trying to shake Daniel Bryan's hand. Bryan isn't having it. A lot of back and forth, very physical. Triple H is out to hurt Daniel Bryan in this match. Bryan fights back. He pulls it out. He ends up defeating Triple H in an upset and laying the groundwork for the rest of the night. But it wasn't over from there. Triple H, not really that great of a loser, especially when it comes to Daniel Bryan, ends up attacking Daniel Bryan more and basically laying Daniel Bryan in the ring up against the ring post and taking the chair to the shoulder that's up against the ring post, similar to what he did with Daniel Bryan's head about 3 weeks ago on Raw. And so setting up, obviously a storyline within WrestleMania that Daniel Bryan may be too hurt to compete in the main event, but we'll get there. We'll get to that later. And next up we had the Shield versus Kane and the New Age Outlaws, the Shield versus the Suits. And this was a really, really short match. It feels like it was being rushed. They really weren't that short on time because it was a 4-hour pay-per-view, 5 hours counting the pre-show. And yes, I watched every minute of it, plus the pre-show to the pre-show. So I watched about 6.5, 7 hours of WrestleMania on Sunday. But obviously we got Road Dogg doing his whole, oh, you didn't know, New Age Outlaws, and Shield cuts him off in about halfway through, and they're making their way to the ring, and Kane's pyro explodes, his music plays, he comes out to join the Outlaws, and the bell rings, and Ambrose and Kane start off the match, and before you know it, Roman Reigns is hitting Kane with the spear, and that's the end of the match. Shield wins. Backstage, we got the Legends playing with some WWE action figures, and we've got Ricky Steamboat, $1 Million Man, Ron Simmons, and it was just a fun segment to watch. $1 Million Man DiBiase buys the toys from the other superstars behind their back with $1 million and steals it, and then Ron Simmons comes in. Damn! That whole thing. Next up, we got the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I'm not going to go through who got eliminated and when. All I'm going to say is that in the end, it came down to Cesaro and Big Show, and in true WrestleMania fashion, in a flashback, Cesaro picks up the Big Show and body slams him over the top rope to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. By far one of the best matches of the night. You know, I'm going to be honest, when they announced this match, I didn't really take it very seriously. When Hogan came out and announced it as being part of WrestleMania, I saw the potential for it to be somewhat of a gimmick, like the gimmick Battle Royal was at WrestleMania X7. But this really turned out to be like a mini Royal Rumble within WrestleMania. And I really think that they did this to make up for the Royal Rumble, to give us a great Royal Rumble. Not that this year's Rumble back in January wasn't good, but fans didn't get what they wanted out of it. And I think fans really, really wanted to see either Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, or Cesaro win the Royal Rumble. And so they gave us what we wanted. And it was a great, great match. Next up, we had John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Another very... WrestleMania was full of good physical back-and-forth matches. They gave all of the matches great time, except for the Shield match, which was like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes long, if that. You could tell that Bray Wyatt and Cena have great chemistry. I was very skeptical of this match going in from the beginning up until they had the match, because I really didn't see the point. I thought they were creating the storyline out of virtually nothing. It was just completely a complete blindside storyline that had no reason to be created. But they really did a great job building up this storyline, building up this match. And you could tell that Bray Wyatt was in John Cena's head, and that he was trying to get the... bring the monster, so to say, out of John Cena. So much so that towards the end that Bray Wyatt at the beginning of the match just got down on his knees and begged John Cena to finish him off. He had that crazy Bray Wyatt look in his eyes. And he did this all throughout the match. Cena ended up spearing, I can't remember which Wyatt it was, but I believe it was Harper. Yeah, I think it was Luke Harper. Cena ended up spearing through the barricade at one point in the match, which was epic. Then back in the ring, Bray Wyatt's got a chair in the ring. He's trying to get Cena to hit him, and as Cena's about to hit Bray Wyatt, he's got that crazy Cena look in his eyes. Nails Rowan with the chair instead, then finishes off Bray Wyatt for the win. And again, I really got to hand it to WWE pulling off a great match with this. Really didn't see a good match coming out of it. Not that Bray Wyatt ever has bad matches, or Cena does have bad matches, but Wyatt really doesn't. But you can tell that they really, really mustered up a great storyline with this one, and it doesn't look like this storyline is anywhere near done. After this, we go to a shot of the Hall of Fame class 2014 on the ramp. You know, you got Lita, Jake the Snake Roberts, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, Carlos Colon, Paul Bearer's sons, and finally the music hits and out comes the Ultimate Warrior. Rest in peace, brother. Coming out, and you could tell just on Warrior's face how ecstatic he was and how much it meant to him to be included in the Hall of Fame after everything that he's gone through with WWE and all that crap. Next, we see Daniel Bryan being tended to backstage. They're trying to make it look like he's not going to be in the main event. We know he's going to. Next, we have the Streak versus the Beast, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. And obviously, by now, everybody knows what happened. Was it planned? Who knows? I think it was. But they sure played it off like it wasn't. Great build up to the match within WrestleMania. Lesnar comes out, and then down go the lights. Gong hits. Out comes Undertaker. It goes to a shot of 21 caskets, and each casket has a number, and with that number has the name of the person that Undertaker beat. What I was interested in seeing was, were they going to put CM Punk's name on casket number 21? And they did, and they showed it, which was cool. And as they get to number 22, they show casket number 22 with Brock Lesnar's name on it. Taker puts his hand out and pretends to control the casket open, then sets it on fire with his powers, which was epic to see. Now, unfortunately, that was about as awesome as the match got. I'll be honest. Going into WrestleMania, I did not see Undertaker Brock Lesnar being the worst match of the night. But it was a horrible match. It was Undertaker, like I said on my podcast after Raw last week. Undertaker looked slow. He looked out of shape. He looked tired. He looked old. It was not the Undertaker we know. He spent the majority of the match on the mat, on the ground, on his back. He just had trouble fighting. You could tell that he was either old or he was hurt immediately, and it turns out he was hurt immediately. But even with all of that, you still didn't know. You still thought Undertaker was going to win the match. He nailed the tombstone. He nailed the choke slam. He tried to go old school. He kicked out of 2 F5s. He pulled off 2 Hell's Gates. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. And at the end of the match, you saw him say something to Brock Lesnar. And as soon as he got done saying that, Brock Lesnar countered a tombstone, hit the 3rd F5, and that was the end of the match. I'm honestly thinking that, obviously it's been confirmed that Undertaker does have a serious concussion, and he does have a possible neck injury. Not a serious one, but a minor neck injury possibly. I'm honestly thinking that either one, it wasn't planned, and Undertaker knew he couldn't finish the match, so he told Brock Lesnar to go ahead and win it. Or 2, it was planned, and it was supposed to go longer, but Undertaker could not physically do it, so he told Lesnar to go ahead and counter the tombstone and win and finish the match then. After Lesnar got the 3 count, it was just dead silence in the Superdome. Looks of shock, confusion, devastation on the looks of everybody's face, including JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry the King Lawler. Turns out the only people that knew what the outcome of the match was going to be was Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, Vince McMahon, Stephanie, Triple H, and Paul Heyman, and that's it. Which is smart on their end, because it adds that sense of realism and it makes it more realistic when it's done. But looking at the faces of everybody in the ring, you can tell that everybody's childhood dreams just got thrown through the window and thrown out the door. I'm still completely shocked that they ended the streak. It's cool to end the streak. I guess Taker was willing to end the streak in 2010 against Lesnar. But at least end the streak against somebody who deserves it. Lesnar doesn't deserve it, like I said on the last podcast. He hasn't been around. He hasn't been there. He's part-time. If you're going to end the streak, end it with somebody who's there full-time, who's a young guy like Daniel Bryan. Bring CM Punk back. Let him end it. John Cena, somebody who you're going to give a serious push to. Don't let somebody who's a part-timer like Brock Lesnar, who doesn't give a shit, who just comes back for the money, don't let somebody like that end the streak. Anyway, it took a while for everything to set in, and for people to finally realize and come to grips and come to terms with the fact that the Phenom is in fact human, and that the streak is finally dead. Again, I don't understand why give a push to somebody who's not going to be around in a month and a half to 2 months. Unless Lesnar is actually planning on sticking around for a couple of years, then end the streak with him, but still. After about 5-6 minutes of complete silence and shock, Lesnar's music finally hit, and after he walked up the ramp and went backstage, Undertaker finally got to his feet after a while, and the thank you Taker chants broke out, except for one fuckhead in the crowd who yelled "You suck" and booed the Undertaker. Whoever the hell that was, I hope to God you got your ass kicked by every fan in the Superdome. That's just unacceptable. The Undertaker is a legend, and he's done so much for this business. There's no reason to boo him, especially in that kind of a moment. Fuck you. Anyway, as the Undertaker walked up the ramp and everything, the "Thank you Undertaker, thank you Undertaker, thank you Taker, thank you Taker" chants kept breaking out. And it was very clear that it was the end of an era. It very well could be the Undertaker's last match. So if that's the case, thank you, Undertaker, for everything you've done in pro wrestling and for decades of memories. You will not be forgotten. After this, we had the Vicky Guerrero Divas Invitational, which had pretty much every diva in the WWE in the match. I can't even name everybody that was in it. But it came down basically to AJ and I believe Naomi. Naomi or Cameron, it was one of the Funkadactyls. It was Naomi because Cameron had a wardrobe malfunction and lost her top during the match. The match ended with AJ putting Naomi in the Black Widow, and it looked like Naomi tapped, but honestly, AJ made her tap shoot. AJ grabbed Naomi's arm and tapped it. So she cheated to win, but still, after WrestleMania 30, leaving WrestleMania, AJ Lee is still the Divas Champion. You know, I won't lie, it was actually kind of a fun match to watch. I cannot believe I said that, but it was a fun match to watch. Finally, we have the triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt. Randy Orton versus Batista versus Daniel Bryan. And it's very clear from the get-go that Orton and Batista really don't even want Bryan in the match. So they took him out right away. This was a great WrestleMania main event. It was outstanding. Not to mention, Randy Orton came out to the ring with Rev Theory playing his theme song. Rock on, Rev Theory. Can't wait for that single to come out in the new album. But there was a lot of scary moments in this match. One of which saw Batista give Daniel Bryan the Batista bomb through the Spanish announce table. But not only was it a Batista bomb, it was a Batista bomb into an RKO through the announce table. Very, very, very big back and forth match. It had everything that you would want it to have. Very physical. You can tell that the three of these guys probably really don't like each other in real life. I know not many people in the WWE like Randy Orton, and I know a lot of them, there's been a lot of heat on Batista for coming back and getting a title shot right away. And I think that Daniel Bryan, he may be the most patient person in the world. I think that he was starting to get a little frustrated too. But this was the most back and forth, up and down match of the night, and rightly so. Guys going into the barricades, guys going through announce tables, chairs, everything. It was really the Viper and the Animal and the Beard. It was very physical. Some parts were you cringed at some parts. After Bryan got put through the announce table with authority, the EMTs came out with a stretcher and backboard and put Bryan on it. And of course, you knew that Bryan wasn't going to go to the back. And as they wheeled him up to the ramp, he started to get off of the stretcher. And as he gets back into the ring, Triple H and Stephanie come out. And Bryan nails Triple H with the sledgehammer, which was awesome to see. And as Triple H is getting up, Stephanie's standing right next to him. Bryan goes flying through the ropes and catapults himself into Triple H and Stephanie and knocks them out. And as Orton and Batista are going at it, but Orton Orton and Batista are going at it in the ring, going at it. We get the final climax of the match. Orton and Batista are going at it, and one of them goes down. Daniel Bryan chants "Start up" as Orton waits for Batista to get up so he can RKO him, and Batista avoided it and knocked down Orton. And as Batista's going for a spear on Orton avoided it, and Batista speared Bryan instead. Turns around into an RKO from Orton. 1, 2, no. out of nowhere, Daniel Bryan hits the flying headbutt and the flying knee, and pins him for the win. It's almost hard to believe that after 8 months of seeing Daniel Bryan get screwed and come so close to the WWE World Heavyweight title, and before that, the WWE title, you almost wanted to wait and see if something was going to happen to where he got stripped, or if it got, turned into a 2 out of 3 falls match, or if he got disqualified. But no, they let him have it. They let him have his moment. He celebrated. He brought his sister and niece out into the ring from the crowd, and as the confetti's coming down, Daniel Bryan celebrating with the crowd, yesing, and it truly was a WrestleMania moment. And I gotta say, looking back at WrestleMania 30 from New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm thoroughly impressed. It was my first WrestleMania watching, but I mean, I've seen pretty much all of them on a replay and WWE Network and YouTube and all that fun stuff. I've watched pretty much every WrestleMania, and this definitely has to be at least in the top 10, if not top 5 WrestleManias of all time. Obviously, WrestleMania X7 being probably the best of all time. I don't know if they'll ever be able to live up to that, but this could be number 2. This had everything. It had surprises with the streak ending. It had more surprises with Daniel Bryan. We kind of all knew it was going to happen. We knew it had to happen. After 8 months, fans are, like I've said all along, fans have been getting bored, fans have been getting restless, and fans have been getting frustrated. And I honestly, truly think that if they didn't give Daniel Bryan the belt at WrestleMania 30, fans were going to stop watching. I mean, fans love their wrestling, but I mean, fans will watch TNA instead of watching the guy get screwed 8, 9, 10 months straight. And if he would have gotten screwed, this would have been 7, 8, 9 months straight. Yeah, because August, and this is April. Fans aren't stupid. And like I said before, yeah, we understand we have to be patient. It's a slow burn and a slow rise to the top. But we don't like being treated like idiots. We don't like being told that it's coming and it doesn't happen. This was the WrestleMania that WWE had to put on to keep the fan base happy. They've always said that they listen to the fans to give the fans what they want, and we decide who gets what. Well, I mean, we've been saying it all along. We want Daniel Bryan to have the belt. He deserves the belt. And finally, they let him have the belt. And I think it's going to be a great storyline after watching Raw the next night. You can tell that they're setting a lot of stuff up, and it's WWE's going in the right direction. Finally, after a big downtime and down period, they got their shit together, and they're putting together some great storylines and putting together some great drama, and it's fun to watch right now. I love it. But congratulations to Daniel Bryan on the WWE World Heavyweight title. Congrats to John Cena for winning beating Bray Wyatt finally and keeping his cool. Congrats to Cesaro for winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And just kudos on WWE for an impressive WrestleMania 30. And also, my hat's off to WWE for handling the Ultimate Warrior's passing with class and respect and handling it in the right way. We've lost a legend, and wrestling will never be the same because of it, but his memory will live on. And obviously, Sting has signed with the WWE. We don't know when his debut is going to be, but he should be at WrestleMania 31. He should be debuting here pretty soon. He has 100% officially signed with the WWE. So let's see what happens now. Sound off in the comments. What did you guys think of WrestleMania 30?